Hello my friends, Paul here in the RoJoBe Music Workshop, and welcome to part 9 of the Japanese Shamisen Sanshin build project. Okay, so in the previous episode I was starting to fit the neck into the body as such, and it was just starting to come through the bottom hole there. And I said that once I'd got it to just to poke through the other side, I'd make a new video and show you the progress. Well, I just filed it a bit and it just popped straight in. So basically that part is complete. So you can see the shaft goes right the way through the body and pokes out the bottom. And with a little bit of tweaking and adjustment, I've got the neck to fit rather well against the body. It's not perfect, but it really doesn't matter because it's solid, it doesn't move. Actually, it's twisting a little bit, but once you've kind of wedged it in there, it doesn't go anywhere. So the neck is now inserted in the body all the way with the little piece sticking out the end, and it's pretty much ready now for the next stage. Now, oh, and also you can probably see the pencil lines, it's lined up nicely, and if I get my straight edge put along or across the body, and you can see as the gap, I don't know where you can see that, the gap there, and then as you go up the gap starts to get a little bit bigger. And if I slide the straight edge up a bit, you can see, I think, how the gap is opening up towards the top of the neck. So once you get to the top, it's like a few millimeters back, and that will help with string tension. So, I had to sort of, just tweak the whole, mostly at the bottom, but a little bit at the top as well. Plus, the underside of the neck, I had to kind of, rasp that into shape, but now it fits really nicely, all lines up. We've got you really can't see that too well, but you can just about, I think, see the break angle of the neck. So the next stage is making the string holder. So obviously the strings come down here and they go over the bridge, which will be in this area, and then they go down here. And to make the string holder, I make something that goes over the end of this shaft. So what I do is I start with a piece of wood shaped like this, okay, and it needs a square hole to go over the end of that shaft, and also some string holes. So that's the next stage. So you can see I've got the blank there, and then this one I've got the square hole in there for the shaft and the string holes. Now that's actually the front side of it. The back side has a recess where the strings go. So you put a knot in the end of the string and they go through here, and this little recess kind of keeps them out of the way, so you're not catching your finger or your hand, excuse me, on the end of those strings. So this neck in the body, I mean, it's friction fit and it's not going anywhere. Nice tight fit, and it's it's all solid and it's aligned. So this string holder now goes over the end of that shaft there, okay, and you just press it on, and so now you can see the strings will go through there and then up over the body. And that as well is friction fit and doesn't go anywhere. So yeah, it goes over the end of the shaft there, and you've got the strings go through these holes here. So you might think when the strings are on there and it's pulling on that might pull this off. It shouldn't do. It shouldn't do. Because that's how the Sanshin that I had, that's kind of what it was like on there. So that it shouldn't go anywhere. Once it's pulling on here and pulling the neck down, it should hold it all together. If it does, lift this off, all I need to do is drill a small hole through the end of the shaft and put like a tapered wedge in there, and that'll hold it all together. I shouldn't need to do that, but if I do, that's a really easy fix. Just drill a small hole through here, piece of bamboo, wooden dowel or something like that, shove it through the hole, tapered, and then it will wedge in there, good as new, good as gold. Okay, so having got to that stage, actually let me just show you, so that's the Shamisen. Now I've done the same thing as well with the Sanshin, but before I show you that, I did say that I had something planned for the top of this Sanshin, because the original top failed, and I thought, okay, I'll go to plan B. Plan B was basically a drum skin, animal skin, stretched over this and held in place with like studs all the way around. I tried it and it failed, it didn't work. So you can see where I put the studs through, it actually cut right through the skin. The underside of the edge of the stud it's sharp, and it just cut through the skin, and it was tearing, and it just didn't work. I mean, I had to try it because animal skin is the original way these things were built, and I thought I'd give it a go. Bit of a letdown that it didn't work, and that was the other method of the top that I was talking about in a earlier episode. And if it worked, it would have been quite exciting, and good video footage and a really nice project. But like I said, it didn't work. I tried it, I've never done it before, it didn't work. So what I've done is I've put a wooden top back on, but a really thin one. Don't know if you can just see the edge of that. So this top is about 2 millimeters thick, whereas this one, the top is 13 millimeters thick. So it's going to be good comparing the sound of the two. Although they are different instruments, this one is smaller than this one. But it will be interesting to compare the sounds between a 13 mil top and a 2 mil top. Strangely enough, that one, even though smaller, has a much deeper sound. So this one will be, I think this one with the thin top will be a bit louder and possibly a deeper sound. I don't know yet, but it will be interesting to compare the two. So also with this one, the Sanshin, the smaller one, I've put the holes in the body, and the neck slots in there. Line that up with the bottom hole. And so yeah, again, I'd sort of played around with the position of the holes with the file, the rasp, and the bottom part of the bottom face of the neck, and got that fitted up nicely. It still needs a little bit of finishing. Is 95% there, but you can see there's still a little bit of a gap there. I've just got to do a little bit more filing and sanding just to get that to go through. And the end of this shaft is a bit longer than the other one. I might cut a piece of that off, I'm not sure yet. But that, again, like this one, is going to have the string holder put on the end of that shaft. Okay, but I'll come back to that one later. Because coming back to this one, now that I'm at this stage, basically, apart from finishing and sanding and everything else, the body is the body and the neck are pretty much done, including the string holder at the end. We're getting towards the end of the build. We're not far off from stringing it up, really. But obviously, to do that, I need tuners, which I am going to make on my lathe. I'm going to turn them on the lathe. The problem with that, well, not a problem, but the downside is that I've got these two instruments, and each one has 3 pegs, so that's 6 in total at the moment, and they take a long time to turn on the lathe. So to do 6 of them, and eventually 12, because I'm making 2 more instruments, that's days worth of work, if not weeks. So, It's very time consuming. It's not that difficult to do, as I've said before, but it's very time consuming. It's going to take me at least several days to make those tuning pegs. So what I want to do is bypass that stage so that I can move on and do some other parts and come back to making the tuning pegs later on. So how I'm going to get past that stage and, you know, move on is by inserting these violin pegs. I've got some bigger ones coming as well. I've got some viola pegs which are basically the same diameter but they're longer. So, but I've got these violin pegs for now, so I can, you know, temporarily fit those into the headstock so that I can move on to the next stage. So I'll just place those in, and you know, you can kind of see now kind of what it's going to look like, you know, with the tuning pegs in there. Obviously the original tuning pegs for these types of instruments, they're much bigger, much longer, but these will get me to the next stage, which is basically you know, making the nut and the bridge and start to string it up. So, you know, I can skip past the stage of making the tuning pegs by using these violin pegs temporarily, which I've had in stock for a long time. So, you know, they're the right fit and they've got the string holes in them already, so I can skip to that stage. So let me just turn the camera around, tilt it down a bit, and then zoom in. Okay. Right, so zoom in a bit more, wait, just a touch. No, that's too much. Let me just zoom out a little bit. Okay. Let me just turn that round. No, that's not going to work. Turn it back that way then. Okay, so I've got the violin tuning pegs in the headstock, and what I have also done off camera is I've cut the slot for the nut. You know, I didn't film it because it's not that interesting to watch. I could have done, I suppose, but anyway, I've got the slot for the nut ready cut, and I've got lots of these bone saddle and nut blanks. These are the saddle blanks. I've got the nut blanks as well, but I've used one of these saddle blanks and I've cut it into two pieces. So I've got a long piece there and a shorter piece. So this shorter piece is going to be the nut, and this longer piece will be for the bridge and the saddle. Okay, so let me just try and zoom in a bit more there. And okay, so I've got the nut more or less to shape. It's not to the right height yet, it's way too high, but that will fit. Is that the right round? Yeah. So that fits nicely in that slot and pretty tight, because I don't want to glue the nut in place. I want it to be like everything else on this instrument, friction fit. So much like a violin, everything is held together by friction. Okay. So in this case, the neck in the body is friction fit, the string hold on the end is friction fit, the tuners are friction fit, and at the moment the nut is also friction fit. And the bridge and saddle, once on the body and the strings over, like a banjo, is just held in place by the tension. So apart from, you know, the box itself all glued together, there is no glue, no fixtures and fittings on this instrument. It's all held together by friction. So I've got the nut placed in there. As I said, I know at the moment it's way too high, but I wanted to get it to the right width, and you know, kind of got it shaped as well. But I will need to cut down the height of it. So let me just make sure that's properly seated in that slot, which it now is. Okay, zoom back out. Okay, so For the time being, I'm just going to use this saddle as it is to just to raise the strings up. That's going to need to be adjusted as far as height is concerned as well. Okay, so let's get a string on this thing. So I've got these classical guitar strings. There's two sets in here. I say that, there's actually two half sets. There's only the treble strings in both of these sets because I used the bass strings on something else. But that's perfect because that's what I need. So, we've got, hold on a sec, we've got first string, second string, and third string. So I'm going to be fitting the second string, which is in this case the middle string of this instrument. Just to, sort of get alignment and stuff and see how it looks, how it sounds. So, without further ado, I'm going to get this string out. Actually, I do have one already here. 1 second. Let's just get that one out of there. Okay, so got the string there, and I've got a knot on the end of that string. So now I'm going to poke that string through the string holder, the center one. Okay, up it goes. And then put it into the hole in the tuner, center one. I can take the other two out for now, I don't need those and they'll be in the way, so I'll take the other two out. And where's that hole? Uh-oh, there goes my bridge saddle. Okay, I've got it. So, there's the hole. Okay, so I'll poke the string through the hole in the tuning peg. And for now, I'll just, oh dear, I've lost it. For now, I will just pull the string all the way through, not tight, but just, pull it through. There we go. Okay. Right, so I've got the string in there. Now I'm just going to tighten the tuning peg a bit to get some tension on the string. Okay, so I've got the string through the tuning peg. Obviously it's over the nut. Incidentally, I've already started, but I'm going to have to slope this part a bit so that when the string goes in there, it's not on a sharp edge and it's going to, cut the string. I've started to do it a bit, but I need to do it a little bit more so we get, a nice slope for the string to travel down towards the tuning pegs. So that's on there, and that's it's quite hard for you to see, the string at that end. So I'm just going to put this saddle under the string. I'm going to put it quite low down towards the bottom end of the body, and it's making a sound. Right, I'm going to tighten that tuning peg a little bit more, get some tension on that string. Not too much. Okay, so the string is on there. Let me just turn that around. Okay, so it goes through the string holder, over the bridge, saddle I should say, and then up the body, up the neck. Now I'll have to turn it around. Up the neck to the saddle. Now you can see just as well as I can that is way too high right now. But it is, the height is consistent from one end to the other, and that's fine. I know I've got to do some adjustment to it, but I just wanted to get a string on there, just to check, that everything looks all right, and it absolutely does. I'm going to be putting some once I've got the height down on that nut, I'm going to put some tiny little notches in there as well to hold the strings in their position, and I will do the same with the saddle at the other end as well. But it's looking quite good. I mean, you know, like I said, I know that the action's got to come down a bit. That's absolutely fine. So, for the first time, this instrument is making a sound. Let me just grab a pick and just turn around. Just grab a little pick on the string. Okay, so it makes a sound, which is great. It sounds like a Sanshin, a Shamisen. And as suspected, it is kind of quiet, but that's fine. I don't mind that at all. You know, it will probably sound louder when it's got all the strings on and everything's up to tension. I mean, that's nowhere near up to tension yet. But to me, that's sounding rather good. So, you know, we're quite near to completion as far as this part of it's concerned. I am going to, off camera, you know, I'm going to lower the nut and get that finalised. I need to figure out a way of, you know, making a bridge and saddle, and you know, it's kind of at the sort of end stages apart from the tuning pegs. So that's pretty good. I'm quite happy with that. So you know, like I said, I've still got to make the tuning pegs, but they're going to take a long time. I'm not going to bother making those just yet. I want to you know, make the nut and the bridge and saddle and get it all strung up, just using these violin tuning pegs for now, just to check everything's all, you know, good, and then after that I will be doing final sanding and finishing, and then I'll start making the tuning pegs. So that's basically going to be the last, more or less the last job I do, making the tuning pegs, because I know it's going to take me a long time, but it's going to be quite satisfying to do. And you know, then I can get these things finished. But as it is at the moment, we've effectively got a playing instrument. Let's get that pick. Obviously it doesn't sound great at the moment, it's nowhere near up to pitch, and it is pretty quiet, and I was expecting that, but all I've got at the moment is just that saddle rested on the body. If I make some kind of foot for that, a bridge effectively, that should help to increase the sound. Should do. I'm just gonna this piece of wood I've got for the string holder, I'm just gonna slide that underneath this saddle for now, just see if it makes any difference. Don't think it will, because it's the wrong kind of wood really, but we'll just have a little look. And also that's going to, you know, raise the action way too high, but I just want to experiment with that. Yeah, it's not made any difference to the sound really, so I'll need to play around and experiment and see what I'm going to do with that. But yeah, I mean, it's overall pretty good. I'm quite happy with that. And you know, it'll be the same thing with the Sanshin as well. So you know, I'm getting towards the end stages, but like I said, I wanted to skip past the tuning pegs just to, you know, get to this stage of making the nut and the saddle and bridge and get it strung up, just to see what the thing sounds like and looks like, you know, more or less complete. So we're making good progress, and I think in the next video I will have sorted the nut and the saddle, and then we'll get it strung up properly with all three strings, get it up to pitch and see what it's like, and then do the same with the Sanshin. So we'll compare the sounds of the two, and then I'm going to be moving on to sanding and finishing. As for making the tuning pegs, as I said, I'm going to do that last, but we'll see how the time goes and see, you know, what and when I get things done. So hope you're enjoying these videos and enjoying the fact that we're getting close to the end of this project. And yeah, so moving along nicely. So please look after yourselves, look after each other. We will see you soon. Peace out.